What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 11 edition of the Prop Shop Show here on RotoGrinders. I am Brit Devine, joined by my man, as always, Mr. Chief Justice 06, Will Priester. Will, we're ready to have some fun. We're going to do things a little differently at the start. We're going to let some of our loyal followers from the Prop Shop get in here. I've got a take on a game that's definitely not going to be on the board much longer, so we'll get to that in just a minute. But what's up, my man? This is going to be a fun little show we're doing tonight.
Yeah, man, it's been a pretty good day. Little lax today, not a whole lot of CSGO. Had some college basketball, but all in all, I haven't worked too hard early today, Brit, on props. Everything's kind of coming through late. It's Taco Day at Prize Picks for those of you that follow that side. Tacos were good today. I mean, we got sports taco early to get it started. Anytime we can get an esports taco, it's typically really good. Got that going this morning, and got a Paul George taco, and I think we've got a Kevin Durant taco going right now. So it's going to be a good night, I think. So I'm 2 for 2 on props so far today. These next 3 come through, Brit, and it's a huge night. And I barely had to lift a finger because we didn't have too many props going today. So really excited about that. Got some housework done. But guess what? People don't care about my housework. They want to know what props to play. And that's what we're here to do, give you guys some props. And Britt's got a slew of props that he's put together. I've got my pockets as well. So hopefully we help you guys make some money.
Yeah, so we normally start on Prize Picks because they're generally where most of the action is, especially if you want some of the lower lines, underdog, if you're playing unders, maybe you want to play there. But I'm started on Monkey Knife Fight. Chief, I'm angle shooting Monkey Knife Fight as soon as I can right now. So let's get in here, guys. This game is not gonna be on the board at Monkey Knife Fight at these levels much longer. I'm talking the Browns at Bills game. So if you're listening to this on Thursday or Friday, you could check it out, but you're probably not going to get these lines we got right now. I live in upstate New York, Chief. They are calling for 2 feet of snow over the weekend in Buffalo with an absolute downpour of snow on Sunday, especially in the first half of the game. I know it's Tuesday, but I'm playing this angle. Every single forecast, I spent a couple hours looking at this stuff earlier. Points to a lot of snow on Sunday. Monkey Knife Fight is the only site right now that has this game open. I am playing first half. I'm playing full game. Anything I can get my hands on in the passing game, unders across the board, Chief, for this Bills game. I know on Prize Picks had it up on Monday night. I was hitting that on some unders. But again, Monkey Knife Fight's the only one that has this open. In the first half, Chief, actually, I want to jump into the full game here real quick and get your take on some of these lines. We could try to figure out. I don't know if I'm going to have everything that's available because I've been playing this a lot. But my favorites are, right, so like Diggs, 21.5 fantasy points, and Brissett, 13.5. I know we like Brissett over passing yards, but 13.5 fantasy points, that's, I don't know, sort of around where he's been a lot of the year. If he just gets like 1 touchdown, he gets there. This one's like a prize one for me to hit an under on with the snow. You can run this in the first half too on the unders. They've got an Amari Cooper and Gabe Davis. But Gabe Davis is already a pretty volatile wide receiver, so his median under 12.5 is probably good anyway. You mix in Amari Cooper on the road. He stinks on the road his entire career. You mix in weather, just absolute monsoon of snow coming through Buffalo, hopefully. I like the unders on that one. Again, Monkey Knife Fight, the only site that has this open currently. Every other one is taking it off the board. I encourage you guys to take some of the unders on that. Chief, I love a snow game. If it's light snow, it doesn't really matter. It's the heavy snow through the whole game that absolutely destroys under-overs. The total is only like 42.5 for this game right now. It started a little higher. Get these unders, guys. They're not going to last much longer. What do you think, Chief? You might be on mute.
Yeah, man, coming right out of the gate with a rookie mistake. My God.
It's week 11, Chief.
Definitely on the unders here. What I will say is I'm less I'm more likely to hammer everything that doesn't have Nick Chubb right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of maybe wait and see how they're going to approach this game. The other thing, too, is, Deshaun Watson is coming back to practice. And so I'm just hoping that Brissett plays one more week. You know what I mean? Because he is slated to be back at practice. And so I'm just not sure if he's going to start this week
Watson
or next
can't
week.
play all week, 13 or 14, something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, so if that's the case, then Brissett is in the clear. I'm with you. Anything passing game, definitely on the unders. I think one of my favorites right now is probably that Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper fantasy points, because you got to think that Gabe Davis, he picks up a lot of his fantasy points on big plays, and so I gotta feel like the big plays just aren't going to be there in this particular spot. So that's one of my favorites. And so if anybody in the prop shop has been following me, it did not work out yesterday for NBA because the game just did not go the way we anticipated. But I've been on Monkey Knife Fight, and I've been laddering up all of these plays all the way to the 5, 6, 7X. And Brit, I'm even taking in the more or less category, I'm even taking the 2 out of 3s for 1.6X, the 3 out of 4s for 2.5X. It might feel like it's let's call it negative EV, but what I'm trying to do is make as much money as possible when we've got a read like this. So even though it may seem counterproductive, I'm literally making money on every card. And so that's really what I'm shooting for when I'm laddering all the way up. So for this one, which in your case, you've already kind of laddered some of these, but I left some of these up, but like Josh Allen at 275 and Jacoby Brissett at 219, I gotta feel like those are both unders in this particular spot. They've got another one here: Diggs and Brissett fantasy points, Davis and Cooper, Diggs at 91 receiving yards, but Chubb at
85 and a half.
Chubb
right?
at 85 and a half. Yeah. That one, it's like I'm right there on the edge because. Yeah, the Bills' defense could slow him down, but man, he's going to get so much volume in this game. So it is what it is. But Gabe Davis at 58.5, Peoples-Jones at 45.5. If this game comes out the way we think, all of these are going to be really beneficial props for us. So I'm pretty excited about that. They've got Diggs at 7.5 receptions. Does he pick up eight receptions in this game? I'm not sure. Maybe that's one I kind of let slide from the beginning and then maybe come back later in the week and just see where we are. But all in all, if the weather is going to be that bad and you trust our good friend here, Brit Devine, and this is when you ladder all the way up to the 30X.
There's some wind too, so it helps out. We'll have to see. It's Tuesday. We're recording this Tuesday night. Sunday is a long way away. But this is a big storm that's supposedly coming to upstate New York. I don't want to see it on my driveway, but I'll take the money that comes from putting a couple bucks down.
You don't want to see it in your driveway, but you'll put the money in your pocket. I got you.
So I just wanted to get that out to the people watching live, anyone who's watching early, some of you guys in the prop shop. I was telling you guys to get in here for the show. Hopefully we're able to take advantage of this, and it goes our way. So I wanted to get that out. Let's jump how we normally do the show now, Chief, to Thursday night. We've got who is it? We've got Ryan Tannehill and the Titans going into Green Bay. Green Bay. I don't know how Dallas lost that game. They basically gave it away to Aaron Rodgers at the end of the game. There, I wasn't too happy with that. I was on Dallas.
Jesus.
But it is what it is. They were doing some recaps. They just decided to let the Packers run outside the entire game and never change up their entire game plan. I don't know. We talked about this with the Bears and Justin Fields, how it takes, now we're in the in-game adjustments, how it's basically impossible for an NFL coaching staff to do let's keep a guy on the outside to keep Aaron Jones contained. I mean, I don't think it should be rocket science for an NFL coach to change things up mid-game, but that's what they let happen. Aaron Jones ran wild. I want to talk about a couple of props in this game. I want to start with Derrick Henry, Chief. 99.5. That's what he's at the sports books. And I got a stat for you, Chief. You ready? You ready for this one? I think you're going to like it. In his last 25 road games, Derrick Henry has gone over 100 yards in how many of them?
His last 25?
Last 25 road games. How many has Derrick
give
Henry gone
me
over?
give me
100
22 out of 25. Give me 22 out of 25.
So it's 18 out of 25, but
hey, that's okay.
4 of the misses were in 2019, right? So like that's a long time ago. So this dude, this is a thing you want to take advantage of. Derrick Henry on the road. Now it's at 100, right? It's not the 85, 70. I think we had Derrick Henry at 70 something earlier in the year. It's still, I like the over on this. I even like the over on Ryan Tannehill passing yards at 175. I think it's a little bit too low with Burks coming back and basically the receiving core getting a little bit better. I know at underdog, he's a little higher, but I think even Tannehill at 175 is a little low. I like the overs on both of those. What's your take on those two? And then you got anybody else for us?
Well, let me just say, since we were talking Monkey Knife Fight, if I were you, I would just go on over there right now and get Derrick Henry over 99.5 rushing yards and just take Aaron Jones under 60.5 rushing yards. Now, there's a method to the madness here, and don't worry, I'm going to explain. So there's the couple teams that are what we've been kind of calling funnel defenses here, Brit. And the Tennessee Titans are one of those defenses where and if you just look at the past couple games, you'll understand what I'm saying. Quarterbacks are throwing for big-time yardage, not scoring a lot of points, though. And running backs are doing absolutely nothing because you can't really run on this team. You got to put it through the air. And so my supporting evidence, at least if you look at the past couple games, Patrick Mahomes threw for 445 or 450, whatever it was. Britt, that team scored, 17 points, 20 points?
Mm-hmm.
If I told you today
they were playing good defense that game. It's just they allowed a lot of dink and dunk throws the entire game.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's this defense, though. Like, you're going to be able to throw the ball. You're not going to be able to run the ball. And so, as a result, this was one of my favorite combos on Monkey Knife Fight. Henry over 99.5. Aaron Jones over 60.5. Don't worry. I'll have another one they play for Thursday. Now, I'm going to parlay that over to Prize Pick, where I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers over passing yards too many games this season. But on Thursday night, I'm telling you right now, the only way they're going to win this game is if Aaron Rodgers is like a magician and he's able to pile up the yardage. So at 237.5, I'm taking the over. And this is just for Thursday. Derrick Henry, 99.5. I'm taking the over. Aaron Jones at 60.5. I'm taking the under. In terms of receiving yards, like Robert Tonyan is kind of the, he's sneaky. I'm taking the over here because I think Rodgers is going to have to throw it. Alan Lazard at 48.5. I'm also going to take the over. I'm banking on the passing game. I'm very low on the running game for the Green Bay Packers, and very high, of course, for King Henry. So that's kind of my build for this week, for this game. I'm going to roll with what brought me here, stick to the trends, and continue to ride this thing to the money. But I'm highly invested in the Green Bay Packers passing game for Thursday Night Football, and that's across all sites. I would be getting it on Prize Picks currently. A-Rod is at 244.5 on Underdog, so a little bit higher there. Tonyan is still the same, and they don't have anybody else in terms of passing yards. And then for the Thursday night game, Aaron is at 247.5 on Thrive, and Tonyan is at 27.5 there still. Henry at 99.5. So I think if you're getting your exposure to this game right now, you're getting it with the discount at Prize Picks right now until everything catches up.
All right, and I like that. Do you like the underdog 1.5 passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers? Now he's got Watson back. If they're going to be scoring, you like that? Or these Thursday games have been so garbage, are you just more likely to just take the passing yardage prop on Prize Picks?
Probably the passing yardage prop. It's going to sound crazy. I kind of don't hate this stupid 2.5 rushing yards prop. Like, I almost don't hate it, right? That's one scramble for him where something breaks down and he just takes off. I still like the passing yards better, but 2.5 though, Britt. That's not a lot. Got some wheels. Yeah, I mean, look, you might not get it until the fourth quarter, but I think that one is very achievable for a guy that has some rushing ability. So and some escapability. So just want to put that out there. But all in all, really high on the passing game on Prize Picks, really high on Derrick Henry, and we're gonna roll it from there. I'm probably also, if they give us Mason Crosby, I'm probably going to be invested in some Mason Crosby shares for this game because Green Bay will be able to move the ball through the air. But once again, as we've seen, the Titans still aren't allowing you to score a lot of points. So I don't think Green Bay scores a lot of points, but I think they can move the ball.
And I want to know, too, Aaron Rodgers, over 2.5 rushing yards in his last 3. But other than that, the rest of the season only over in 1 game. So the recent log looks good. The season long says otherwise. But that is just 1 scramble for Aaron Rodgers. I'm really surprised he doesn't have a little bit more than that. Because 2.5 for Aaron Rodgers doesn't really seem like a lot. All right, so Derrick Henry, over 99. There's a lot of stuff backing that up. Absolutely love that one. Aaron Rodgers, I'm certainly on board with your game script theory. More on that, less on the Aaron Jones. A couple of what's the Watson line in your head? What's that coming out at? And are you going to take the over on it?
I'm going to guess they're all around the same thing because like when Romeo Doubs, when he was kind of coming out, he was around 49.5. My assumption is Watson comes out somewhere around Allen Lazard. So I'm going to give him around the same line. And let's see what happens.
Who would you prefer? Let's say Watson comes out at 49.5. Lazard's 48.5. Who you got?
I think I take both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I'm on board.
I think I take them both. Yeah.
Pop them in with Aaron Rodgers over, throwing Derrick Henry. You got a 10x 4 pick right there. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to Sunday. There is quite a bit on the board, I think, this week. So I've got, Derrick Henry was one of them. So I've got 1, 2. Tannehill was, so I got Tannehill at, he opened up at 170 on Prize Picks. So I got Tannehill at 170. What do you think on the 175? He's 186 on Underdog, and I believe Underdog mimics the sportsbook line right now. Do you have a take on the passing game on that? I definitely liked it more at 170 than I do 175, but don't hate it.
Man, I'm not thrilled about
you want Henry.
Yeah, I'm going to get my exposure through Henry, and I think I'm going to let that do it for me. I will say this. I don't mind Treylon Burks for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. Like, Treylon Burks was at 34.5, I think. I don't hate that in this spot. Like, I might not be in on Tannehill, but Treylon Burks is a guy that if he's back and right, he's going to get enough volume to get there by the virtue of the type of routes on a run.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move to Sunday passing yards. Chief, I'll let you. So I got 1. I got 2. I know you're definitely going to be on one of these for sure. I wonder if you'll like the other one I got, but I'll let you start with your pick of passing yards. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so the first one that jumped off the page to me, and this is really more of a discrepancy play as I went through the sites, and I know this one we talked about pre-show, Brit, but Davis Mills at 190.5. I know he's facing Washington. I'm expecting this team to possibly be behind again because, once again, Washington is another one of those teams, Brit, that they're not going to allow you to run on them too much. So at 190.5, I really like that. Don't look now, folks. If you hop over to Underdog, this fellow is sitting at 227.5 passing yards. That's a 37.5 passing yard or 37-yard difference. Give me the difference all day on that at 190. Like, that's one I think if you're into that game, you probably want to get Mills right now. Like, I don't think you need to wait on that one. Like, he's probably going to normalize on Prize Picks around 210 to 215 at the least, I think, considering where Houston is or where he is on Underdog right now. And then he's at 199.5 on Monkey Knife Fight, just for reference. So he's kind of 190, 199, 227. That's a big jump. Love Davis Mills this week, so I definitely think this is a guy that can get going here. Another one that I actually really like, and this one's sneaky, but I think be in this game enough to where he'll probably have to throw it some, and that's Daniel Jones at 185.5 against Detroit. Like, I know Saquon's going to tee off. Like, they should be able to do whatever they want in this game. At 185.5 for Daniel Jones, like, I am completely in on that, especially as his receivers are continuing to get healthy. Like, that feels like a good spot to me for Daniel Jones. I think that line is a little bit too soft, and so I want to take advantage of that while we can. Zach Wilson is another one, but for Zach Wilson this week, Brit, we're actually going to just going over to Underdog. He's 192 on Ice Picks. He's 178 on Underdog. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the under there. And I know we haven't gotten the passing yards yet, but I'd absolutely handcuff him with Garrett Wilson. Wilson, I think, is around 55.5 on Prize Picks, 44.5 on Underdog. We're getting a really big discount between these two props. I'd go ahead and handcuff them on Underdog and let that one ride. I'm expecting the Jets to play better coming off of a bye. So I'm also expecting Zach Wilson to play better coming off of a bye. 178.5 feels a little bit too low in what should be a pretty good division game here.
All right, so that's what you were looking at. Chief, the system play. Derek Carr under 245 against the Broncos. Where's this sitting at?
Oh, well, listen, you know that's coming. Like, sorry guys. Listen, I don't have my notebook like right here. It's automatic.
It's down to 240. I got it already a bunch at 245.5, but
yeah,
we're still
automatic.
taking the 240.
Oh yeah, you know that's automatic. Like anybody against the Broncos unders.
All right, so Chief, here we go. I just put together a 6x 3-pick on Underdog. Zach Wilson over 178, Garrett Wilson over 44.5, Derek Carr under 245.5. That sounds pretty good to me, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All
right, I'm putting that in right now. So I put that in live on the show. I like that one. I like the call on the Jets getting the lower totals on Underdog over there. And then the Derek Carr under, I was getting it a bunch on Prize Picks. I was looking for something on Underdog to add it to, but I absolutely like that call on that one. So Derek Carr for sure is one I was looking at. The other guy I'm looking at, I believe, let's see here. I don't want to give it out. In the same game, Russell Wilson, 230. This is he's found his groove a little bit here, Chief. 286, 252, 188, 274, 237. I would like Jerry Jeudy. I'm waiting on the Jerry Jeudy news. I don't know.
Oh, didn't the Jeudy series kill you this weekend? My God,
dude,
it got
right
me.
away.
Oh,
he was definitely look, he had 286.
Oh,
he was at 49.5. He was definitely going over, and that it didn't sink.
Jeudy was going to hit that in the first.
Oh my goodness! I saw that right away. I was like, crap, because I had him in like 20 different tickets on.
Oh man, same here. I mean, I think we started hammering Jeudy on Wednesday, so like I had so much Jeudy over the weekend, but that's okay. It is what it is. Our girl Kara here, quarterbacks under versus Denver a lot. We've been on it all season, like QBs under versus Denver. Just
anything
like
on Denver. Anything against
running
them.
backs,
everything under.
Yeah. Just like running backs versus Detroit, running backs versus Houston. Like we've been on those. Like those are staple props. Just get those in your lineups.
I also want to note too, if you have NFL first half, Patrick Mahomes is at 147. I like him. He's getting close to 200 every game. So that's one you can tack on as well from a passing yard perspective in the first half. You can take his full game too with the Chargers. I think they're going to get Keenan Allen and Mike Williams maybe practicing this week, or at least Keenan Allen back. So maybe their passing game will have a little bit more juice. But the Chiefs are just like, hey, we got Patrick Mahomes. We got some dudes that can catch the ball. Well, even if they can't, we're still going to throw the ball at Patrick Mahomes a ton. So I like Patrick Mahomes first half specifically, but you can take the full game as well if you want to get the full game exposure from the passing yards. Anything else? Those were the ones that really stood out to me, Chief. You looking at anyone else here?
I got one more. Like Justin Fields better pass for over 160 against the Atlanta Falcons. Like
I'm worried
he better get this done.
I'm worried the game is because Atlanta's going to want to run the ball like 50 times. I'm just worried there's not enough opportunities for him to pass the ball. So I'm waiting for his rush yards. I saw his rush yards on Monkey Knife Fight. Was it 79.5? And I don't think we're getting that
close.
That's a tad high. If it comes in more around 70, I think I'd still take the over on that. I don't know. The offense is so good right now and the defense is so bad. I think Atlanta's going to be able to score. I think Chicago's going to be able to score. I got the over at 48. It's already up to 50.5. So I got that basically on Monday morning. I'm just worried there's too many runs in this game, Chief.
Here's my read. I mean, and so I think if Atlanta's trying to run clock and they score, at some point late in the game, I feel like Justin Fields might have to push it a little bit. And that's kind of where I'm coming up with this over of 160.5. And I also feel like I think he'll be able to hit one big play to Mooney. Like that's the other thing. Like one big 40, 50-yard play to Mooney, and like we're pretty much about to clear the over. See, from there, he's only got to pick up a little bit over 100 yards for the rest of the game. That's kind of my read on it. I just think 160.5, man, that just feels really low for a quarterback that's been playing better progressively every week now. So that's all that is. That's just more of a, I think this is too low. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm going to take a shot on it. And he's also playing the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, underdog has him at 254 total yards. So that's like 90 rush yards plus. So maybe that passing line is a little low. Maybe it's going to come out around 175, 179 on the sports books.
Yeah, I think that 160.5, I think it's a tad bit too low for sure.
All right. So that was some passing yards. Let's move to rushing yards. We've got some big names and big spots. We already talked Derrick Henry. We like Derrick Henry over. Let's just go right to Saquon against Detroit, 98.5. This is the New York Saquon Barkley's. We're taking the over on this one, right, Chief?
Yeah, man. No way I don't take the over against Detroit this week at 98.5. Just go ahead and take the over. I will tell you right now, I don't know what we're going to get on the Washington guys this week because they just played last night. So
those second half lines that Prize Picks was dropping last night, Chief. Did you get on those?
So Brian Robinson opened at 16.5 in the first quarter. I just hopped on it in the first quarter. I was like, "Oh, this is insane!"
I had the withdrawal button has been got hit this morning based off of Brian Robinson.
Listen, Brian Robinson made people some money last night. I can tell you that right now. I mean, incredible!
You can get all that. Incredible. You can get all that in the prop shop. By the way, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, incredible. So I really like that one. Once again, the Washington guy, I don't think they come out as low. Like Brian Robinson was at, I think, 33, 34.5 for the game. And then I think something similar for Gibson. And
Robinson's good. They got to put him at like 60 something and Gibson at like 45 or something at least.
If they give us 55, I'm just going to hit the over immediately. Mm-hmm. I don't think it comes out there, but I think it's close. I don't think they can't give us 70-ish because it's kind of just been one game, and I don't think they're going to know how to adjust it. So I think they're going to give us a lower line once again this week. And if he smashes this week, next week we're going to get in the 70s, I think. But so I'm thinking he comes out around 50, 50, 55.5, and I think we get Gibson around 40.5, 45. Like those are my thoughts. And if so, I'm still taking the over because we already know what this team wants to do as well. And they've got Houston this week. If they ran it 30 times, last week, 30 plus times last night, it's going to be the same thing again this week between both of these. I'm in.
So I like that one. I want to talk a couple other big names. Another player I'm on is Jonathan Taylor, 80.5. They get the big offensive lineman in as a coach. And then they run. I mean, it was against the Raiders, right? So everyone can run wild against the Raiders, but they want to play Jonathan Taylor. Like that's what they're going to do in Indianapolis. And I think 80.5. He looks healthy. The offensive line had their best game of the year on PFF as far as grades. It was a really good game for the Colts on offense. They were able to beat the Raiders. I don't know. It's against Philadelphia. Philadelphia really disappointed me on a couple of bets I made last night. I just needed them to win the game to have myself a really, really, really nice weekend. That did not come through. They lost to Washington. But the 80.5 on Jonathan Taylor, I think is pretty good. Where do you stand on him? Is he someone you're eyeing?
I don't hate.
Are you worried about Philadelphia? You think that was a one-off Philadelphia game?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like, I feel more comfortable just not playing that prop at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, I mean, honestly, Philly's probably glad they lost that game. Now they got the monkey off their back and they can just get back to playing football. Hopefully, good football. But listen, Brit, I trust you. I'll get him in a card on the over because if he gets the volume, he goes over. Like, that's the thing. If he gets the volume, he goes over. We saw what Washington was able to do last night. And this guy is, in my opinion, I think he's a better running back than Robinson and Gibson, just in terms of pure running back talent. So at 80.5, I don't hate that at all. Another sneaky one I do think is Alvin Kamara against the Rams. The Rams haven't been great.
I can't trust the Saints offense anymore. Unless Jameis comes back in and starts winging it deep. Because I need those Jameis over 2.5, 300-yard props. I need them.
Listen, here's what I don't want, folks. I prefer if you're not gonna just let him sit on the bench, and my season long card is pretty much. I'm sitting at what I feel like is a 1.5x anyway, because I've got Zeke, I've got Alan Lazard, I took Jameis, I took Jamar Chase over 5.5 100-yard receiving games. I took AJ Brown over 2.5 100-yard receiving games. AJ Brown should have already been there. He finished one game with like 94 yards, had 94 yards for what felt like 2 quarters. So, I mean, he's going to get another 100-yard game, I think. Jamar Chase, I think, was on his way, and just the injury derailed him. Zeke's been out 2 games in a row. Alan Lazard was hurt at the beginning of the season, but Lazard is over half the way there, and Zeke is Zeke is over half the way there, missing 2 games. If they can finish out the season strong, I think I'll end up with the 1.5x because Jamar Chase is just burned. But yeah, so either that or Jameis. If Jameis comes out, he better throw for 300 yards every game. That's what we need.
I need that too. But Kamara rush yards. The Saints offense has looked pretty horrible with Andy Dalton. I don't know why they were like, oh yeah, Andy Dalton's are going to be our quarterback. That didn't really make any sense.
The Rams have just been so bad. Yeah. God, they've been bad. It's really more about the Rams being bad than the Saints offense being good, if that makes any sense.
I can understand from that perspective. Rams total. Talk about a Super Bowl letdown. This is just an absolutely horrific season from the Rams right now. And then I want to. I was on Carr under. What are we doing with Josh Jacobs against Denver? Derrick Henry can't get 60 yards. Is Josh Jacobs getting 76.5, or is this right on the line for you?
I'm not playing Jacobs this week. If anything, I'm taking unders. Like. If anything, I'm taking unders. That's the way this is going to go. And I was a believer in Henry this week, and it just did not happen for us. So Denver's defense is good, and their offense stinks. Those are the facts.
All right, so that wraps up rushing yards. Let's go to receiving yards. Let's see. So, my favorite. So I got a play of the week. You ready for this one, Chief? It is Travis Kelce at 70.5. He's at 82.5 on underdog. This seems a good 5 yards too low from what the sports books are going to open it up as, right? Juju's hurt. Who else is going to be here to catch passes in a trustworthy fashion from Patrick Mahomes other than Travis Kelce? This seems way too low. This was my play of the week. I use this. I probably have 50 different cards already with Travis Kelce at 70.5. Definitely my play of the week in terms of receiving yards. Do you like that one? And then what else are you looking at this week?
Yeah, I like that one for sure. That's definitely probably going to be a staple of mine. Brit, it was a little bit too close for comfort in the last game, but I'm committing to something the rest of the season. And maybe I'm wrong. I probably shouldn't do this. God is probably going to be a sweat. But I'm just going to take Drake unders. He's at 34.5. It's going to feel terrible, but they're just not committed. Yeah, 38.5 is going to feel terrible. This team is just not committed to any type of a real passing game. And guess what? They're going to be able to run on the Bears. So he's not going to be needed this Sunday, I don't think, as much. It's going to feel very yucky. It's going to feel bad, but I don't care. I'm taking the under. Inversely, I do like Darnell Mooney over, like at 48.5. That's getting really close to. I mean, he's pretty much burnt that almost every week outside of the Miami game. One game you would have actually thought he would have done it. It just didn't get there. I think Cole Kmet had a game of his life that game, and it just didn't materialize. So that's one that I like a whole lot. Just more of a game script play. And then last but not least, I think T. Higgins goes off this week at 67.5, division matchup. They've had a bye week. He's going to have a chance for them to kind of get going without Jamar Chase at 67.5. I think that's a touch too low even against Pittsburgh. I'm taking the over with T. Higgins. I think he's going to get massive volume this week. I'm thinking 10 to 12 targets. If he catches just a handful of those, I think he goes over.
Yeah, I like the T. Higgins. I need him for the couple season-long props from Prize Picks. So I am all for Mr. T. Higgins going over. I want to point out Cortland Sutton, if Jerry Jeudy, keep an eye on this. I don't think Jerry Judy's going to play, but he's going to be an absolute target monster. If Judy's out, he's basically the only reliable pass catcher they have. He might get 10, 15 targets. Love the 60.5. He went over it last week against Tennessee. What do? You pass on Tennessee. You can do whatever you want against the Raiders, but I think him at 60.5 looks a little low, specifically if Jerry Jeudy doesn't play. Let me see. What else do I got here? I had Deontay Johnson.
For reference.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Brit. Go ahead.
Oh, no. What were you going to say?
I was going to say for reference, T. Higgins is 77.5 on Underdog. And then Drake London is 39.5 on Underdog. And there was one more that I wanted to point out that was an under. I can't remember what it is right now. Darnell Mooney is 45.5 on Underdog. So just kind of check the sites. There's some slight differences between those couple props we just talked about.
Yeah. And the other guy I was looking at is Deontay Johnson. And there's just 55.5, I think, is just good. It's right on the cusp, but I think it's just a little bit too low without Chase Claypool there anymore. I like his. I want to see what Freiermuth comes out at and what Pickens comes out at, but I think Deontay Johnson is probably just a little bit too low at 55.5. I already talked about Kelsey. Everything, like, what do you do with Devontae Adams? Because, I mean, I'll take the Derek Carr under, but I don't think I'm going to mess with the Devontae Adams under, right?
I'm just not going to bother at all. Like, that's one of those props I just let it sit there this week. I asked the Denver defense to limit passing yards. So I'm just going to stay away.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what else the board brings, right? We're recording this early Tuesday. They don't have a lot. A lot of the ancillary players aren't in here. There's only 3 different statistics for us to choose from. So this is what we got. I think we hit on plenty of stuff. Hopefully you guys got on that monkey knife fight play earlier in the show. Check for your discrepancies between Prize Picks, Underdog, Thrive, all of those sites when they come out. You're just going to want to make sure you're getting the best line on all of them, right? Like if you were going to play Mooney, don't play him on Prize Picks, play him on Underdog for 45.5. And that Mooney Drake London, that looks pretty juicy because London, it's 1 yard, but 1 yard means a lot when your line's already so low to begin with. So,
well, it does, Brett, because I took London unders all over the place last week, and guess what? My 38.5s hit the unders. My 36.5s did not. So and last week that was more of a weather play, right? Which is why I was so heavy on the passing unders in that game. And Brett, the weather was bad the first half. Second half it cleared up, and all of a sudden the ball was flying around. That just really crushed me last week. But definitely that 1 yard will absolutely matter in the end.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for the Week 11 Prop Shop Show. Again, if you want to get in the know, right? If you wanted to know, hey, I was given the Travis Kelce play. I dropped that in the prop shop. I'm looking at this stuff Monday at like 3:00 in the afternoon as soon as it hits on Prize Picks, Chief, right? So I'm like, why is Travis Kelce at 70.5? So I just played him with a bunch of basketball tonight, played him with other bunch of NFL combos. You can get all that information from me, from Chief, from the other hundreds of other very smart people in the prop shop. That's for free. You join the RotoGrinders Discord. Go to the prop shop. It's up near the top and join the community. Hats off to Chief for putting that together with RotoGrinders. I think probably one of the best additions to something new that RotoGrinders has added is the prop shop. So again, Chief, thanks for helping me get on the show with you and joining that prop shop for everyone out there. Anything else you got for us this week, Chief?
No, man, I'm good. Hopefully we can talk to our producer, Brit. I want to get a couple special guests on as we get down to the stretch here at the end. Some of my buddies from the industry that are in the props as much as us. So hopefully be on the lookout and we can get, just a couple guys that have kind of walked this prop journey together the whole time. So hopefully we can make that happen, and just a few people as we close the season out.
We got to get a prop shop giveaway guest appearance on the show or something like that, Chief. Somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. I am in.
That out. Let's get someone from the prop shop in here. We'll bring them on for a show one time for some fun.
Yeah, all right. Absolutely.
Chief and I will work on that behind the scenes. We'll get that happening at some point. Other than that, guys, enjoy. It's a long week until Sunday. We love getting this show out before the books post most of their lines. It's fun to try to dig into it to see what we think is the correct line versus what sports books might put out. Hopefully it's been valuable to you. Other than that, have a good night, good week, good time. Will, it's been fun doing the show. I'm Brent. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out you.